Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Motivations with Dan Stratton. I'm Dan Stratton. I pastor a church in Lower Manhattan. I do a lot of business things. We're doing a bunch of work in Cuba, in the prisons of Mississippi. We have a great business outreach. We're going to be doing an intellectual property conference with Janan in Raleigh, North Carolina, in a couple of weeks. And it's powerful. But the reason I tell you all that stuff that I have going on, in addition to my family and the church and my extended family back home, is because there's a powerful concept called rhythm. Rhythm. Now, rhythm in music helps the team stay together. When you come together on a song, you set the beat, the drummer sets the beat, the bass player sets the beat, and then the keyboard instrument is actually a rhythm instrument. That's what they call it, even though it's got all those different notes it can play. And then it comes in, and then the guitar or other instruments, and then your vocals. And your vocals come on, and they might even sing a little bit of a syncopation on top of a set rhythm. So it's very beautiful, very easy to understand, and a song that is out of rhythm for even the untrained ear is painful. It's painful to hear a song that's one person's playing at the wrong time. So it's important for us to understand the concepts of rhythm. And in our life, the rhythm of life is so important that we kind of look at everyone that we're responsible to, everyone that we're accountable to, responsible for, and accountable to. And we kind of sit back at the beginning of the week. I call it a Sunday night meeting, and I set my time schedule. I set my priorities. And all of that is with the intention to come into rhythm. And I'll reach out to all my leaders and I'll say, hey, let's have a call. Let's get things together. And then, and I always say to them, give me a time that you can keep your word on, that you'll show up for. Don't give me a time that is tentative, that you might be out of sync with the rest of your life. And so it's very important that you do that. So in an effort to keep a number of projects on time, in rhythm, I stay flexible. I stay flexible with that so that I can flow with my life, flow with these things. Now, one of the things I do to keep a powerful rhythm is not just random. You want to make sure you're in rhythm with God, with nature, with night and day, with the flow of the seasons. And most of us do that pretty naturally, but it's important that you get a little bit more purposeful about it. As you flow with night and day, you think about your circadian rhythm, you think about your sleep cycle. Your sleep is as important as your water intake. Your sleep is as important as your nutritional intake, and your sleep is as important as your exercise. So it's important that you understand that your body needs to be paid attention to. Your mind, similarly, needs to be paid attention to with rhythm in mind. God put into effect this 7-day cycle, 6 days of work, 1 day of rest, right? But he also put into effect night and day. And he also put into effect his cycle of seed time and harvest, which he coincides with his 7 festivals that he has throughout the year. We're on a calendar, which is a Greek calendar, and it starts with January, February, but it starts January 1st, and it's a calendar that is not lined up with the calendar of God, which starts in September, which just started a few days ago on Rosh Hashanah. This weekend we'll have Yom Kippur, which is the second holy feast that God has, and then Tabernacles after that. I don't want to get overly biblical or overly religious here. I just want to tell you that rhythm's important, and you want to be in rhythm with God. You don't want to be trying to get God into rhythm with you in your life. So you want to start your day. And I always come back to the Hebrew because I've gained so much revelation from it. The Hebrew day starts at sundown. not at sun up. So that tells you something, that we actually rest before we work. We sleep at the beginning of our day before we work. A lot of people say, I want to start my meditation right away when I get up. The best time to do your meditation is right before you go to sleep, which is actually the beginning of your day, trying to get into rhythm with God. So many of us are trying to get into rhythm with each other, trying to get our work schedule, our family schedule, our schedule with our children together. And having this rhythm is so very important. And when you are aware of putting rhythm to work in your life, then you are better prepared to make good choices in terms of prioritization. So let me walk you through that. I already told you that your day really starts at sundown. So that's when you should spend your time quieting your spirit, getting all your lists out of your mind and preparing yourself to sleep. And then when you're sleeping, you're not sleeping as oh my God, I just had such a rough day. Let me just, recover. No, you're sleeping in preparation for a performative day the next day, so that you're actually preparing to rock your day, right? And that's the same thing with the Sunday night meeting. So I always teach people, when it comes to getting in rhythm with their priorities, I tell them to write down the things you've got to do for the week: exercise, everything, sleep, eating, commuting, all the different things, and then your meetings, the different initiatives or projects that you're working on, or if you have a 9 to 5 job, you got to put that on your calendar and what it takes to do. And then inside that 9 to 5, whatever it is your tasks are, you want to make sure that you're aware of them, and then you plan for them. And the important part of this is, because if you'll prioritize your relationships, your children, your spouse, your parents, the different things like that, then you'll begin to know how to say no to those spontaneous things that come up. So I always set this rule. I always say, okay, I'm going to set my time for the week. I know that there have been requests made of me from the past week. I can either put that on my calendar for this week or the following week. And then when things come up this week, because my week is set this week, I'm talking about rhythm now. I'm talking about clarity, efficiency, productivity, growth, and promotion. I'm talking about purposed use of time, and not only purposed use, but prioritized purpose use, meaning I'm prioritizing my key relationships, my productive relationships, and I want to have the greatest effect out of my week. So I want to be in rhythm. I want to be in rhythm with nature. I want to be in rhythm with God. I'll check the weather for the week to see exactly what can I exercise outside? Can I exercise? Do I have to exercise inside? What's my commute going to be like? All those different things. So I'm preparing to be in rhythm with God, in rhythm with nature, and in rhythm with my prioritized relationships, my prioritized projects, whatever it is that I've given my word to, whatever I given to my word to. So as we think about these things, and as we do this, we focus on these things. So looks like I'm getting some comments on my screen here. Is there anybody out there? I want to just say hello right now. Just want to say hello. Hopefully you're receiving some information from us this morning. Amen. It's funny how things are. So Sunday night, let me get back to that Sunday night meeting. So what I do is I'll set my schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'll begin to move it through. And what I always tell people is that come to me, maybe somebody will call me on Monday morning or Tuesday afternoon, and they'll say, hey, I'd really like to have a phone call with you. I will say, because my week is already set. I've already purposed a goal. I've already purposed projects for this week, but that's not to say I can't be flexible next week. So what I do is I say, okay, I'm already full for this week, but I can talk to you next week on Tuesday. I can talk to you next week because I've got rhythmic times during the week that are still open for next week. But this week, I've already efficiently put together, purposefully put together a very productive schedule. Now, I can still be flexible, but I need to be disciplined this week. I need to be diligent with my time this week. Hey, Nathan, how you doing, brother? Congratulations on your baby. Can't wait to see. Oh, bring. I want to see that baby. Amen. So I'm looking forward to seeing your little boy and seeing everything that's going on with him. I'm dedicating him to. So it's exciting to think about the people. So on that Sunday night, sit back and think about the people. Think about the people in your life that are important to you. And then also kind of go back over the week that you just had and see how out of rhythm you might have been, how you might have spent a lot of time that was unproductive because you hadn't taken the time on that Sunday night to prepare your week. Kind of make a list of people in your life that are important to you. Make a list of things that you have to do, right? And then you make a list of ways that you can rest or rejuvenate, have fun, and then work them into your schedule. And of course, everything you do, you've got to coordinate that with the key people in your life. I have to coordinate everything with Annie. My daughter has a baby now, and so we coordinate our schedules around when we get to spend time with Bennett and babysit, but it's not really babysitting. It's chilling with the boy. He's my grandson, and I love him, and we spend a lot of time together. But as you begin to really work your rhythm on purpose, then you start really being productive. You start really accomplishing what you are trying to accomplish. When I work with teams, I try to get them to read in rhythm. So if we're studying the Bible, I'll have them read the same things during the month. If I'm working on a team and a project in a company, we will work on simple thoughts. We will work on basic core values. We will work on the methodology, protocols, the way we do things, so that when we shift from one person handling a client to another person handling a client, there's no bait and switch in style. There's no bait and switch in protocol. Well, the other lawyer at the firm does it this way, and you don't want that. You want there to be a real seamless rhythm on the team, and so you work that by developing what I call common language. And so that common language really, really, really helps to bring your team into resonance, into alignment. And your team, might not just be your team at work, might not just be your team if you're playing, if you're curling, or if you're playing tennis, or whatever it is that you're playing, for fun, but it's also your family, and helping your family to understand that they are a team. And then you teach those people around you to do the same things you're doing, so that they are aware of their priorities, of their goals. And that helps you, because after a while, if you're not in rhythm, what happens is some people feel like they're always working on what you want to do. And you don't want that as a leader. You want your team really feeling like they're included, and that they have a piece of the momentum, of the piece of the movement of the team. But you got to teach them how to sit down, set goals, and guard their time with the projects in mind and with the family in mind, and as you move those things forward. So these principles, as you begin to work on them, starting on Sunday night, you go through your week, you plan everything from rest to eating, to taking your vitamins, to exercising, to commuting, to working, socializing. All that stuff's important. And then you get it down, and then you get the people around you to do the same, so that they are aware that this is what you're doing. make sure you prioritize uh, quality time, time that doesn't necessarily have an agenda, quality time with with your important people. Like I do that with Annie, my wife. I'll just block a time and we'll just hang out. We'll just go to the beach or we'll have a meal together. We'll go for a walk. Kiss. I mean, it's nice. And so, but she's not aware that I'm like blocking time for her, but she knows that I'm prioritizing her. So that rhythm is very important, and teaching people around you to have that rhythm. Oftentimes, we'll have, you know, confrontations with people that we love and we care about because we're unaware of what their priorities are. And so the importance of rhythm is really having a discussion around what's important to them, what's important to me, what they've placed priorities on this week. And then sometimes, our own physical health, pain in our body, something, kind of throws a wrench into that, a little distraction, a little deterrent. And we've got to be aware of that as well. And we have to compensate for it. So this is the beginning of a conversation around the disciplines of bringing yourself into rhythm with God, with nature, with your priorities, and then teaching people around you to have that rhythm and to value that rhythm as well. So once they understand why you're doing it for the people you love, for the people you serve, for the people you work with. They won't think you're being, you know, controlling or out of sorts. In fact, what you're doing is you're getting more and more peaceful, more and more relaxed, and more positioned to serve. So I hope this helps you today. I want to say hi to Lisa and Eddie and Jenna and Nathan. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you share this with your friends. I got a good report when I went back to Minnesota. My nephew said that he watched it, and Tommy Mueller said he watched it. So it was really cool. And I got to play golf with all those guys. It was really wonderful. And the only way we could have done that is if we put it on the schedule and we all got our lives into rhythm so that we could spend that day together. It was truly joyous. God bless you. Have an awesome day.